Hello, folks. I'm Dakari. This is Nicole's Tatiana, and we decided to do our presentation on skateboarding. We chose the sport because it's one of the more unique sports, I'd say. There's a lot of different branches of it, and there's much to do on it. So, all right, let's get started. All right, what is skateboarding? Skateboarding started off by four wheels, a two by four plank, and it was called roller derby. I'll get more into that later. But basically, skateboarding is the culture of individuality. Skateboarding really, it's just, I don't know, it's one of those where you can really just express yourself and, you know, whether it be looks or the type of tricks you do, your skateboard, what you got. Um, it's really just one of those sports where you can just really kind of go all out with what you really feel. And it's got a lot of self expression through rather movements, and it's really good at rebelling against the societal norms and basically what normal sports do. Because normal sports have a lot of rules, and you got to play by those rules. Like in skateboarding, you don't really got to play by any rules. It's mostly just all about self expression and how cool it is, really. Um, Popularity, basically, it mostly gets popular because technology advances, and then it's in Back to the Future, X Games really made it popular as well, and then the Tony Hawk games and the skate games, you know about those two. And next slide. And then basically, this is the history of skateboarding. The growth is basically from it was roller skates attached to a two by four plank. The roller skates were made of clay, and they were really rough. It was a really rough ride, and if you hit anything really, whether it be a small pebble or some indent in the street we were getting on, you'd go flying. You're Superman for a little bit. And basically, luckily, we got the urethane wheels, which was invented by Frank Nosworthy. It's these wheels. It makes it a lot more stable, and it makes it ride a lot more smoother. And really, it just makes it way harder for you to crash, and it's just a lot more stability, and they also lasted way longer. Um, the 90s and 80s skate parks were basically like pool skating, street skating, where you basically do tricks on the street or in a pool, like an empty pool completely. It also was a thing, like it was called land surfing at some point in time, like when it first started, because that's basically how it came to be. Like people wanted to surf on the land. Um, and then for like more like style purposes and like flip purposes, they invented the kicktail, which is this thing right here. It kind of curves up. It makes it a lot easier for you to trick on a skateboard. And then later on, they invented the double kicktail, which is this exact thing right here. It's basically called a popsicle board because it looks like a popsicle. It also makes it a lot easier for flips to really just happen, and yeah, a lot more stability. It's basically just all about refinement. That was made in the 1990s, really, and then the 2000s mostly about just complete refining, where like they use carbon fiber, fiberglass, and bamboo. They just make it like super, super. How do I describe it? They make it super just sturdy and chill, and make it where your ride's a lot smoother. And then this also explains the history of skateboarding a little bit.
Hi, I'm Jack Smith. I'm the curator here at the Morro Bay Skateboard Museum, Morro Bay, California. We're going to tell you a little bit about the history of skateboarding, where it came from. This is a homemade board from the 1950s, maybe early 60s. It's made out of old shoe skates. People would take and cut them in half and attach them either to a piece of plywood or a 2x4 was more common. As you can see, it has steel wheels and no bearings, very rudimentary bearings if any. The disadvantage on steel wheels is if you get a crack or anything larger than a grain of sand, the board would stop and you would keep flying and end up on the pavement. So that's really where skateboarding came from. And then a few years later, somebody came up with the idea to take skates or wheels off of indoor rink skates. These were called clay wheels. They're actually composite. I think they were called clay because They rode like clay and they crumbled like clay. A little bit more performance than the steel wheels. The steering mechanism, which is called the truck, became a little bit better at this time. Instead of just having one rubber cushion, they would have two, and that was called a double action truck. And it gave you a little bit more control. Once again, if you were to hit a crack or a pebble, the board would stop and you would keep going. Performance on these was a lot better than the steel wheels, but there was a big change coming, but it didn't happen until the early 70s. In fact, skateboarding pretty much died overnight in 1965, mainly because the U.S. Surgeon General put out a report about how dangerous they were.
And so, really, this is a whole lot of advancements. I'm not going to explain too deeply about the parts. This is the grip tape. Makes it super easy for you to not slip off. And these are the trucks. Makes it really so you can turn a lot easier. I think he explained it a little more in the video. And then the bearings are inside the wheels. It's kind of really hard to see, but yeah. And I'm now going to be introducing Nicole.
And as the car says, it was first made in 1950 with only a 2x4 board with 4 wheels, and has progressively evolved throughout time, as you can tell from the video. Now, I will be talking about why do people skateboard. Now, I found 5 benefits why I think it's important why people skateboard, especially through physical benefits, mental well-being, social connections, creativity and self-expression, and affordability. Now, there are many reasons why it is a physical benefit. It first helps with your abs, your glutes, and in other muscles in general. Especially when longboarding, people have to get down and bend, so that helps a lot with the core and having to keep balance on the board in general. And it just overall helps your stamina build throughout time. And for mental well-being, I feel like from what I've heard from many skateboarders and other riders that it helps them release stress and find a nice, safe place to kind of just release their stress out and help them in their daily life pressures and just go with the flow, really. Another reason is social connections. As many hobbies and different groups, skateboarding is like everything else and allows people from different backgrounds to connect and just really connect in different ways, especially in growing a bigger community and having your own social friends and building those stronger bonds throughout time. People say that they have built long friendships and memorable moments throughout skateboarding. And next is creativity and self-expression. There are many reasons why skateboarding helps many people create and allow them to each individual to express their own identity and their skills in general, especially their personal style and their originality. And it helps them with creativity, imagination, as well as encourage more riders to help and join and explore their unique identities. And lastly is affordability. Affordability I think, is a great thing because as many hobbies, let's say for example, motorcycles is a really expensive hobby, but for skateboarding, many people doesn't matter if you don't have enough money or you have a lot of money, you can get a skateboard for about $24 at a toy shop, and those skateboards can last up to 2 to 4 years, and then I believe that's great because not many people can buy skateboards that quickly, and they can range up to $100 or less. Now, I will be passing it on to Tatiana. And yeah. So, summarizing what Nikki said, it has a lot of benefits, a lot of good benefits actually, connections and all that. And now I'm going to be talking about safety and gear. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're wearing a helmet to protect your head from, any like concussions or just any major injuries to the head. Then next we have knee pads and elbow pads to protect your elbows,
and your knees from scrapes from when you fall. Then we have wrist guards to protect your wrist from fractures and help keep your wrist more stable. Then we have skate gloves, which are not necessary, but it helps your hands from abrasions and also helps provide extra grip on your board. Then we have footwear, so you want to make sure that you're not wearing sandals or open toe shoes, and make sure that your tennis shoes they have strings on them so you can tie them, keep them on there. Then we have clothing wear. Make sure you're wearing breathable clothing, so like sweats or like baggy jeans, hoodie or whatever. And adding onto that layers, make sure that you're layered up so if you fall, you are protected from cuts, scrapes, and all that. In conclusion, skateboarding has evolved a lot from the 1920s to now. Back then the boards were made of so as I was saying, back then the wheels were roller skate wheels and they were made out of clay, and in today's now they're made of urethane, and the boards are made of fiberglass and carbon fibers. And skating has a lot of benefits. Identity. You're able to express yourself however you want. No rules, just straight imagination and what you believe is right. Physically, it's a full body workout. So working out the arms, the abs, the legs and all that. Then you can build social connections with people who have the same hobby as you and who also like skating. And yeah, next we're going to be playing a video of different types of skating.
All right, folks. That was our presentation on skateboarding. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. running.